What's up, everyone? New house. We've got the room kind of done. We have decorations. It's been 2 months since we kind of last uploaded. So here we go. This is our video for this week to get back into it. It's a little bit different what we've done, and I'm going to basically run you through the basics of how to set up a chessboard and play. Sound good? Cool. Let's get to it. So recently there's been, when would I say it started? I was aware of it after Moist Critical and XQC played a game. And since then I've seen an increase from the likes of Hikaru, the Botez sisters, Gotham Chess. Yeah, all these big chess streamers have started going, and it's actually grown as a category. Pretty sure there's an actual just chess channel. So there might be a lot of people who want to learn how to play. So I'm going to run you through the basics of how you set up the board and what each piece does. Alright, so let's head across to the board. Alright, so here's our board. It's fairly conventional. This is an older board. This was from my dad's. So we'll start with the basic. This is your pawn. This is your sacrificial. The sacrificial is your sacrificial lamb. Your frontline soldiers. So basically, you will line them up here to here. So let's do that.
A few moments later.
Okay, so now that we've got our pawn set up. So the way that the pawn moves is when they have not moved at any point, they can move 2 spaces forward, but only on their first move. Think of it as like having that rousing speech by the general that really gets those spirits up.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Makes them charge into battle before they realise what terrible, terrible decision they've just made about their life and are potentially to run to their death. After that, they're a bit more cautious and can only move 1 space at a time. So that is it. That is your pawns. They can dive forward in that position. There is an advanced technique called en passant involving them, but this is just the basics of, so you know how to play. And if you then want to be able to take part further and learn more about it, you can look that up. But let's say your opponent moves like that. So your pawns can only move 2 or 1, but when it comes to taking a piece, they move diagonally. So that is how your pieces move. 2 spaces, 1 space, or diagonally to take. That's your sacrificial lambs. That's how they work. Next, let's focus on the big boys. So up next, we'll have our rooks. The castles, the towers. Their technical term is the rook. Now, your rook it's a very strong piece. Very, very strong. Let's consider it like a siege tower. Siege towers are not exactly agile. You can't move them left to right quickly. So you can't move diagonally. You can't do it that way. But you can push it essentially in a straight line. So rooks are capable of moving left, right, up and down in whatever way they want to. If there's no obstruction, they can move it. That rook, complete fair game. So they're a very useful piece to have. Your only problem with them is they're positioned here in your very, very, very corner pieces. Where's my other rook? There it is. Very corner pieces. Getting them out is a bit tricky. But, again, a technique for you to look into, if you decide the chess is something you want to go for, is castling. It's a good way to be able to rotate with your king and your rook. It's defensive for the king, but you can, from the correct side, unleash your rook. It can be used in the right method. So, we'll just work from our right sides, or outside and work in. So up next, my personal favourite piece is our knights. Now, these horsey boys are very, very useful, but move in a slightly interesting way. So they sit just here, next to your rooks. Now, a knight moves in essentially an L shape. So it can be 1, then 2, it can be 2, then 1, that way, whatever. They are the only piece, but with it being a horseback rider, you know, jumpy boy, nah, can go over things. So they can actually clear any obstacles that are in their way. You can't really stop them. You know, if you were to try and pin something with a rook, you can block it. But you can't do that with a knight, and that's what makes it useful. It makes it especially threatening for when you, say we were to position it here. You cut someone's rooks or other pieces like that. You can't stop it. This knight here doesn't stop me taking that one. There's no way to prevent that happening apart from taking the knight. And that's why I like them so much. They are jumpy boys who are very useful when it comes to trying to take other people's pieces and then causing trouble, shall we say. Now, after the knights, a reasonable piece. These are your bishops. Now, your bishops are an interesting one. So you have one situated on your white square, one situated on your black square. And they can move diagonally in any way they want. So in the same way that the rook can go up and down, your bishop is meaning that the communal line a little bit too much, can't go in a straight line. Can only stagger from side to side. So that way, but can only travel on white. So I can't get this one, knock off. Can't get this one to work on the black squares. We can't get this one to work on the white squares. But if there's nothing in the way, you can move as far as you want to. So again, it's a useful piece. It's a very handy one to have. But they are limited, as I said, to their colour. Leaves them vulnerable at certain places. But it is a very, very good piece. Now, on to the next one. And this is arguably your most powerful piece. Objectively, this is your most powerful piece. Your queen. Now, these ladies are able, essentially, are a Dragon Ball fusion of a bishop and a rook. You combine these together, and she can move forward, backwards, diagonally, horizontally, whatever you need. She'll take them. She'll destroy them. Now, your queen starts on her own colour. I mean, it's her domain after all. You know, people like to think that it's king, but no. The woman's the one that calls the shots. So, if we were to put her here, just for the example's purposes, she can move left, right, up, down, diagonally. But because you can move her to here, you can then hit on that. She can move in the way that the bishops can through the axis of the squares. So, whilst, for example, my personal preference was the knights, and I used to always be able to do some serious damage with them, the queen is objectively your most powerful piece. Because your queen can move everywhere. They can't jump, but aside from that, she'll do most of the damage. And then our last and final piece, and this is our most important piece. These are our kings. Now, these delicate little flowers need to be protected at all costs. All costs. Because this is the whole point of chess. The whole point of chess is to take your opponent's king. You take their king, you win. You know, they who control the spice control the world. So, how do you protect your king, you say? Well, using every other piece, mainly. Your king can only move 1 square around it. That's it. But let's say, we took that away. Let's say we put our opponent queen here. Now, when you put a king under attack, call it a direct attack. So essentially next move, my king is taken. That is called a check. You're required to move your king out of the way. You cannot move any other piece unless it stops the check. So I could just move my king to here, gets him out of the way. Or if, it's a terrible example right now, I don't have some pieces set up. Let's say I was able to get the pawn in the way, right? Let's say it was situated like that. So if I can move the pawn here, that's allowed. But if I wanted to just move my knight there, you can't do that. You have to defend your king. He commands it. And, you know, you have to do what your king says. They're powerful. They're in charge. So, your king has to be protected. But let's say it was here. And you want to move your king because you think that she's getting just a little bit too close. She's eyeing up your man. And no, can't have that. You can't move here at all. Because that would put you into check. That would put you into the position where you can be attacked. So you can't move there. You have to move here, here, or here. Because for the exact same reason as these two are off limits. So your king's in danger.
I'm in danger!
You have to get out of there quickly. And the only places you can are there, unless you can block it. So they're vulnerable. They are weak. They can't move well. You need to use your other pieces to defend them. That is basically how each piece moves in a very basic level. Things like castling, en passant, and other more advanced techniques, if you want to look them up, go for it. What this video is the very basics of how you set up your board. And that's what we've got here. So your front row is your pawns. Then working from the outside in, you have rook, knight, bishop. Queen always goes in her own colour. And then your king goes next to her. So if we just flip that again. So you'll see the way it's set up. Also, actually, first I say it like this, a very important detail that I forgot to mention. White always goes first. White always makes the first move. So if you get a game where you're white, you're basically attacking. And if you get it where you're black, you're basically on the defense. So, front row of pawns, rook, knight, bishop, working outside in, queen always on her own colour, process elimination, king goes in the last square. And that's it. Let's head back to the comfy seats. So, that's the basics. That's how this works. If you have any questions, feel free to drop the comments. I will answer them best I can. For a bit of background, if you've made it this far, I used to play chess back in high school. I was okay at it. I won some things. I took part in school competitions and things like that, and was on the teams where we won some trophies and whatnot. But I've not played for years. I'm very out of practice. So I can teach you the basics. That's what this video is. That's why I did it. I can show you the how to do so. But when it comes to the more advanced elements of it, I don't remember a lot of them. I never learned them as well on a lot of it. I don't know the names of things. If you watch things like Queen's Gambit, a lot of that is actually to do with the reason that chess become popular. They'll mention things like the Sicilian opening. I don't know what that is. My go-to opening was always double pawn, king, queen. 2 forward. Open up your queen, open up your bishops, Made it a lot harder for someone to do the Scholar's Mate on you. That was my opening. It was aggressive, it let me push. Even when I was black, it still let me be aggressive. But I'm out of practice. So I don't stream chess on Twitch. I do stream. I do make content on Twitch. Ranging from Warzone to RimWorld to Tropical. We even do some music streams here and there. So, you know, if you like the video, if you found it useful and you're still here at this point, please do all the things that YouTube wants you to do. You know, like the video, subscribe. Apparently that helps me with my algorithm. And you should swing by Twitch as well. Community's pretty good, and I will always be happy to have you. Until then, best of luck with the chess. Hopefully this video teaches you how to play it. And yeah, as I said, any questions, leave them in the comments. Until then, you have a good one.